We
Getting
are
in his
just
headphones.
two bearded dudes shooting the shit.
Well, I could have called the show that, but I decided to call it something else. Right, we made it work. I'm always dubious when people raid in and then suddenly you have to launch. We had a problem with Freddie J, but we made it work with you, so it's great.
You know, I don't mess around. I did what I had to do for 3 seconds, which is this door right here, this magical door. When I put videos on, you already know what goes down in this magical door right here.
Yes, the magical door. Right, first of all, thank you so much. Part of my journey, show 61. It's been a little while in the making. I think I messaged you a little while ago and we sort of didn't quite get round to fixing a date, but we got a date today, which is good. First time on my show, I always ask my guests about their musical influences from a young age. Who first got you into music? Parents, brothers, sisters, friends, siblings? Who was it?
My mom played Motown in the crib exclusively. She hated anything rock. She went from doo-wop in the 50s and 60s to Motown. After Motown, she was a big, Cheryl Lynn fan, but she did not tolerate any sort of rock music at all, which is unusual coming from a woman of, a Jewish persuasion. She was big into doo-wop. My dad, too. Pittsburgh has a big doo-wop scene from early on. So they got into it. They went to high school together. It was very taboo for an Italian man to marry a Jewish woman back in the day. They went to high school and they were the talk of the high school. I got into it from my mom's love and playing Motown in the house. And then after that, slowly got into things like 10 or 11 years old. Listened to a man by the name of Sly Jock who brought hip hop to commercial radio in Pittsburgh in 1984. So I heard Roxanne, Roxanne, Nucleus Jam on it, a track by this cat named Mixmaster G called The Manipulator that was big out here too. Whistle, Buggin'. Just a lot of early 80s hip hop. Of course, I got into Rapper's Delight when it came out, but it took me until around 83, 84 to really fully embrace the music.
So, in terms of your parents and the music, are they collecting records? Are you listening to this in records or is it all radio?
It's radio. Oddly enough, there weren't a lot of records in my house. So you know how a lot of kids have the picture of them with the Fisher Price turntable with the faux records on them, like the yellow and blue, and they're shaped like records, but they played. So sort of built-in musical gadget within the device. It wasn't really a record, but it moved around like a record. But I didn't even have that in the crib. So it was all radio. And, the records that I amassed came solely from me. I did not get my pop's records, my mom's records. They came solely from, just collecting over the years. So no records in the house. No.
So about 10 or 11, you're sort of listening to your own sort of style of music. And again, are you hearing this on the radio or is this being influenced from other people?
I'm hearing this on the radio. Like I said, the Sly Jock show came on at 1 a.m. on Sunday nights. So I would tape his show on one of those cassette recorders where you had to hold up the cassette recorder to the actual radio. It had a microphone built in. It was like a black, lecture tape recorder. You would just sit and record lectures, but it's the only way that I could record the radio prior to having one of those boom boxes that had radio dub. It took like 60 batteries, but that's the only way that I could do it back then. So I would tape his shows, then go into school the next morning, tired as heck. 6th grade, Rosenstein Middle School, tired as heck. But I got that new Sly Jock tape in my pocket. So I feel like $100 with that new Sly Jock tape.
And you're playing this to your friends in high school?
I am. I'm playing this to my friends while I'm rocking a giant starter and some black and red suede Pumas with fat laces and Lee jeans with the sparkles on them with the hard creases. We used to fold our jeans under with the hard creases, like folded under. I can't do it because I got skinny jeans on right now, but we used to fold them under with the hard creases. Just Neil knows.
So you were introducing them to this music because I guess were they listening to it as well on the radio?
No, I think we all were. It was like a joint experience. I think we were all like amazed by this new genre, which was 4 or 5 years old at that juncture. But I was just coming into a musical lover at like 10 or 11, so I think we all experienced it in unison. I think it really exploded when UTFO were Roxanne, Roxanne, and Josie Love, Pee Wee's Dance. Like I think you went from the rhyming over disco days of Sugar Hill, and today we played Joe Bataan, Rappo Clappo, which was rumored to be recorded prior to Rapper's Delight. but didn't come out until after. So you went from those days until the more sophisticated, drum machine days of hip hop shortly after. So yeah.
And I guess that must have been pretty brand new because obviously hip hop was a new thing to a lot of people. It must have been a big change in the sort of style of music and the music you're listening to.
It was new to me, but I had an in because my uncle at 24 years old, he was a sales rep at the urban station here in Pittsburgh called WAMO, which stands for W. Allegheny, Monongahela, Ohio, the three rivers that connect in Pittsburgh. Well, two rivers that connect and make the Ohio. So he worked there as a sales rep. So he got me into the Fresh Fest in '84. He got me to see Egyptian Lover and Ice-T. And Egyptian Lover was the headliner in '84. All for free. I was on the elevator with the Fat Boys. At 11 years old, I was shook. I don't like elevators as it is, let alone with the Fat Boys on there. So because of him, I got an early introduction, a full introduction to hip hop.
That must have been incredible going to those gigs and obviously seeing those artists, like you said, at a young age. I mean, that must have been such a big
It was
inspiration.
great. My mom and my uncle, they were chaperone, and I watched Curtis Blow Moon the audience. I watched Larry Love come out and do Larry's dance theme with Flash. I swore UTFO was on there, but they were not. But Houdini was on there as well. So it was the Fat Boys, Houdini, Flash, and Curtis Blow. Now, I may be missing a couple, but yeah, that was my early days. Yeah.
So having seen these artists, were you then inspired to sort of move forward and start sort of collecting music?
Not even at that point, because I was still I was young, didn't really have an income as of yet. So I really didn't get my first turntables until I was around 14, 15, 87, 88. I got the realistic turntables, the Radio Shack turntables with no pitch. So we used to have to hold the spindle to mix and then let go once we had the mix in. Belt drive, no pitch, realistic turntables, and realistic mixer with a click in the middle of the crossfader. And we used to use a racquetball to transform on the phono line switch. We used a racquetball to go back and forth. So that's how old. Crystal, how old are you?
About to be 50. I think I'm a couple of years younger than you.
A couple years, yeah, I'm 52. Okay, all right. So you know those days. You know those days.
And DJ Vibes, sorry, is saying those were the ones that broke the easiest. My homies had those, which is why I was mad.
Yeah, they belt drives were no joke. You had to replace the belt, and we used to do like little 4-track, not even 4-track mixes, like mixes where I would have an MC rhyme, but I would do the hook by give her hook up 2 tape decks and just record something and then overdub on the second one. That's how we did our hooks. I would say the second cut in my head mentally so I could leave space for it. Then I would go back and overdub it and lay the second cut. Man, yeah, those were the days.
That was a lot of work considering how you can do it now.
Right. We had to cut and paste it mentally. We had to leave a gap for it, and we had to be pretty spot on mentally. It was trying times, but we made do with what we had. I mean, at least we weren't there editing tape. I never spliced tape like the Latin Rascals used to do the dubs with a splicing tape, and still I never got into that art. But that's
another level. That's a complete other level.
Right.
And especially when you see the DJs DJing with tapes, I think there's a guy in Russia, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I don't even give that any thought. That's crazy business, right?
Okay, so you've got some turntables. They're not the best, but you've got some turntables and a mixer. Are you getting inspiration, and are you watching other people and you learning, or is anyone mentoring you, or are you just trying it yourself?
I'm listening to Sly Jock, like I said, my radio muse, so to speak, radio idol, but I'm not seeing him. I'm not seeing anyone play until I sneak up to the University of Pittsburgh radio station, WPTS, as a kid. I would sneak up and hide in the closet because you had to be a student to stay there after hours, and the rap shows were always late at night. So my mom would drive me down, and how I got to be there is that I bugged them so much. I was a nudge. Does nudge translate to across the pond?
I've not heard that one, no.
I was a nudge. I was like kind of I bugged them to death. I was a bugaboo.
Okay.
I bugged them. I was like, yo, you gotta let me come down. You gotta let me come down and do my thing. And they eventually was like, we're sick and tired of you calling. We're gonna invite you to come down. And they loved me. So I would be their intern. I used to run records back from Studio B to Studio A so they can play them. Of course, I went out and got coffee, but I was 14 years old, and I watched a lot of Pittsburgh legends like Mailman, who went on to produce for Dr. Dre, Sam Snead, Butter, who produced for a lot of cats out west too, DJ Double K, legendary here. So that's the first time I actually saw DJs and MCs.
So you're running records back and forth. You're seeing for the first time DJs, and are you getting the
Right.
chance to sort of watch them carefully and sort of then go back and practice what you've seen?
I'm watching them, but I'm only practicing simple transitions because I never had the turntablism bug. And I tell this story a lot. The reason why I didn't have it is because my mom worked 3 jobs raising us. She was in janitorial at a hospital. She worked in a deli and she was a beautician. Okay. So my dad didn't pay child support. We were on Section 8. So I had to stretch my bucks. So when I would go to the local record shop, I would want to cop 2 different 12 inches, not 2 of the same.
Yeah.
So therefore, I never got the dexterity, never got to learn turntablism early on because I wanted more records, not 2 of the same record. Did you want 2 of the same?
I wasn't into it then. I'm into it now, and now I'm buying 2.
Right.
But I wasn't back then. I can totally see why buying 2 different records, and especially if you're having to make them work. It's like buying a record and making sure you're going to play both sides and both A and B bangers and
Right.
all the like you buy 45s now. You know.
And I'm not the most athletic cat. I did play soccer for 1 year. I played what's the position? Halfback. What's a halfback? What's the position where you protect the goalie?
Defense, I suppose,
Yeah.
here in football. Yeah.
I think but we lost every game. So that was my, one venture into sports. So I feel like to be a turntablist, you got to be somewhat ambidextrous and athletic, and I'm just not that dude. Jews can we can hoop, we can shoot 3-pointers, but not much else. I always laugh at the movie Airplane where they asked the stewardess, "Can you give me some light reading?" And she handed him a pamphlet that said Jewish sports heroes. It was a 1-page pamphlet, some light reading. That's some light reading, and that's some little reading. 1 page.
Amazing.
Sorry, I'm cracking myself up. But
that's amazing. No. It's a classic film. It's a classic film. I've seen it many times. Okay, so you're going to the record shop. You're buying obviously 1 copy of a record because you want to make it last. But what are you buying? What records are you buying at that time, and where from?
Record shop called Heads Together. It was a head shop. Do you know what a head shop is across the pond?
I believe I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
They sold drug paraphernalia.
Yes. We have them here. We have them in Europe.
Okay. So a head shop, and they also sold water beds and
in the same shop.
In the same shop. It was an underground mall in my neighborhood that I grew up in, Squirrel Hill. My first record was with money I stole from my mom's purse. I apologize. Rest in peace, Feynman Levy. Ghostbusters soundtrack was the first record that I purchased. Oh, you got it? How in the heck do you have it on deck? This is really bizarre. He's about to pull out the gun.
But if I can find it, I've got a 45 that you need to see. But yeah, keep going with that story.
I'll see if I can find it. The Run DMC one, which was god awful.
Yeah, I've got that as well, but it's not what I'm looking for. But keep going with the story.
I mean, that was the first record I bought. I don't know why I wanted it. I guess I was a big Ray Parker fan. I don't know. Ellipsis, yeah, they had physical hemp goods back then. I don't think so. But yeah, the Run DMC one's god awful. But there's that 45 with the Stay Puft and all that. But that was my first record, and they were big Huey Lewis fans. Ray bit Huey on I Ain't Afraid. Sam, Sleeveless Sam. But that was my first record. Then I started buying 12 inches. Like, I really started buying 12 inches in like 87, 88. So I would buy like the Nice and Smooth, More and More Hits, 12 inch, everything that came out around that time. 87, 88, back when Craig Mack was MCEs. He had a joint called Get Retarded. Shit, I can go on and on and on. Whatever 12 inches were big, Kane, Ain't No Half Stepping, anything Juice Crew put out, Juice Crew All Stars, Sham, Project Ho. I can go on and on.
I found what I was looking for. So this is the 45 of Ghostbusters, but it's a special limited edition with a pop-up.
It's like a pop-up book. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
One.
I'm not mad at that. What song is it though?
It's the Ghostbusters theme tune.
Oh, it's the theme. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But
I'm not mad at that one.
So you're collecting all these records, you're seeing the DJs, you're not doing turntablism, but does there come a point where you get to play out and then start gigging?
There's a point where I get to do basement parties, but basement parties at my brother Nate's crib, who I came up with, and they were basement parties, but there were heads there. Like you had to come correct. You couldn't do, the no transition basement parties. You had to mix, you had to cut. So I had to come correct. I got put into the belly of the beast early. These were basement parties in the late 80s. I mean, a la Kid and Play a little later, but yeah, like it was crucial. You had to come correct, or you would hear it. You would hear it like the Apollo. So basement parties, and I parlayed that into radio gigs. Radio's my real love. And then I had my first actual gig out at a roller skating rink called the Homewood Coliseum in '91. So I was 18. That was my first real gig at the Homewood Coliseum.
And so what was that like at 18?
Second nature. Like it felt at home to me. I had so much experience up until then just doing radio, so I knew about the records. I just had to learn how to read a crowd and move a crowd. And that was my first introduction. I think a roller skating rink was a good introduction because you could play freely. You didn't really have to play the latest and the greatest. You could play stuff from the past and stuff from the current, and not solely focus on the current, because it's a roller skating rink. So they still wanted to hear disco and housey stuff back then. So it's a great time to be alive in the early 90s, because you had hip hop that was still at 110 beats per minute, 114 beats per minute. So we could fuse that with house records that were not that much faster. There were house records that were 118, 120, 115. So it was a nice time to fully get into DJing.
And so where does it go from there?
Yeah, from there it just happened word of mouth. I mean, as we approach the mid 90s, I'm just DJing at bars and clubs here. I'm opening up for people, DJing on the campus of Carnegie Mellon University, an esteemed college here in Pittsburgh, and University of Pittsburgh, and Duquesne University, which I attended later in life. And then I got into opening up my record store, and that was in '98. So I'm sorry that we're fast forwarding.
That's
Fast.
cool. That's cool. We may have to do a part 2 because obviously we're only on 98. But
Yeah, we're going 7 years into the future.
but yeah,
So
tell us about the
98 in
record
December.
store.
The record store of 720 Records, 2 revolutions. My name is not Selecta 720, it's just Selecta. But when I came on Twitch, I had to add something to it. So I figured, why not add a 720? So in December of '98, we opened up a 400 square foot record store within another record store called Hypervinyl on the third floor above a GNC in Oakland, which is the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. It was right when Raucous was cracking. So we would have all the independent singles. It's right when the Slum Village singles started coming out and bootlegged or white label in the late '90s. So owning a record store as a 25-year-old, it was pretty damn surreal. I remember we used to get, back when we still had fax machines, we would get the thermal paper, like 100 sheets of like the new releases from all the distributors. And it was a wild time to own a record store in your 20s. I had a backpack. Yeah, speaking of backpack, we had all the backpacker stuff. We had a Black Moon in store in '98. That was back when El Fudge and Shabam Sadiq and Sir Menelik in those days. So I do have my nerdy backpack side to me too, but I'm also the neo soul dude. I'm also the house dude. I wear many hats. Just one hat today, but I wear many musical hats.
Let's talk about that fact, because that's interesting. Because now, if you're a record shop or sell records, obviously you get audio clips, you can maybe watch a video or something, get an idea of what you might be buying. Back then, have you just got a list of names and titles and you've got to try and work out what's good?
Yeah. I mean, back then, we had the internet, so we could still, listen to real audio clips. But yeah, we just got the thermal paper fax, and we would have to research on our own the sound clips. There was email too, but I feel like a lot of distributors still did the faxes. But yeah, there were emails, obviously, since '93, '94, even before that with university email. But that's how we used to get them. I know, as antiquated as that sounds in the late '90s, they still used to come in that way. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, makes you think. And how long did you have the record shop for?
Well, that iteration lasted about a year until someone tagged the whole hallway, and they were like, "Get the fuck out of here." So less than a year, but that's fine. It was a blessing in disguise. We moved into a lovely space. It was double the rent, almost double the square footage. It's in the East Liberty section of the neighborhood. East Liberty section of Pittsburgh. Sorry, the neighborhood called East Liberty. We moved there for 7 years, and then we left there because it started to get gentrified and the rent doubled overnight. So we left East Liberty and we moved into a historic record store in Pittsburgh called Jerry's Records. You may have heard of it, for 2 years, but it didn't work because at Jerry's back in those days, you can get any record you wanted for $3 to $5. Anything. Like craziness. And we were selling the reissue for $25. So we didn't mesh, you know. So we moved there for 2 years. Then we moved to our last iteration, which was a coffee shop, vintage clothing store, venue, and record store called 720 Records Clothing and Cafe. And that was 2015 is when we shuttered. Once again, neighborhood gentrified. Where I own my house right now that I bought in 2005 for $70,000 right here in Lawrenceville, section of Pittsburgh. Gentrified, had to get out. So for the last 10 years, I don't own a record store, but my house is a record store.
Yeah, and you buy a lot of records.
I buy a lot of records.
Still, we got a quick question here from Ellipsis. Did you work with Landspeed Distro, parent company of Traffic Records?
Oh yeah, Landspeed, which turned into Traffic. All those cats. I think that's Sean C. who ran that. It's a Boston-based company. I mean, Landspeed is where you got all the joints from. So yeah, definitely Landspeed, TRC, Fat Beats. Those are the major 3 distributors back then. Alliance is another one. But yeah, those are the 3. So definitely Landspeed. Yep. They're Get On Down too. They're all affiliated. Like Get On Down is also Traffic and that whole family. Yep.
Sam Tweaks. Moral of the story is buy property where Selecta has a store, as it will gain in value.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, but Pittsburgh is full of gentrified neighborhoods like East Liberty, which is now home of Google. It's fucking crazy now. But back in the day, you didn't want to walk down the street. Even here in Lawrenceville, so it's a tale of 2 cities.
We've jumped forward quite a lot to 2015, but let's just before we head to the sort of pandemic. So you're running the store, obviously. I think late 90s when you first open it, then you have it for a year, and then you move on. So between then and sort of 2015, obviously you're running the store. Are you doing radio? Are you doing shows? What are you doing?
College radio up until 2009, and then I got an NPR gig. A station called WYEP. They put me on late at night, the overnight graveyard shift from 1 to 4 that I listened to as a kid on the other station. Now I was playing the overnight slot. WY Grand Groove Radio. Yeah, it was a great show. But what had happened, as they say, I was filling in for a prime time show that comes on Saturday afternoons called The Soul Show. I was filling in for him. Okay. First time ever doing it. I was on late at night. I was doing NPR, like big deal. Filling in. I get a call while I'm filling in. And somehow, I guess I knew her name and I saw it on the caller ID. The general manager of the station called me while I was on the air. Lord have mercy. You already know.
Yeah.
So I answered it. Very meek-like. And she said, "Wow, you're incredible. I got to make something happen. We're going to make something happen." So in about 2 or 3 weeks' time, they were running a syndicated NPR show. What was the name of the show? You can research this because there's a whole story about me taking over. We're running a syndicated show on WYP from 6 to 8 every Friday. WYP to launch new Friday night show with DJ Selecta. People always call me DJ Selecta. The show launches Friday, August 1st, 2014. It replaces the Friday evening edition of the World Cafe. That's what it was. So I took over 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. drive time slot every Friday on a very conservative, I know that's an oxymoron, conservative WYP station. I mean, I was playing joints. It was 100% my creative control. So samples, just like I do on the stream. I was playing hip hop, funk, soul, birthdays. That's why I started the birthday shows, by doing tributes on radio. But yeah, I preempted World Cafe in 2014 and ran until like 2022, 23, where I quit because they fired only two black volunteers. The guy that actually originally did the Soul Show, they fired him. So in solidarity, I quit because you can't fire the black guy and keep the white guy on playing the same genres. I wasn't having it. So that was the end of my radio career. And I'm glad I could go out in solidarity. And I'm good with it. I like where I am right now.
What was it you think that, obviously she said you were incredible. What was it specifically you think that made you stand out at that time?
I think on YEP, I think I presented a deep dive like I do on Twitch. I did research. I have inherent knowledge, obviously, of multiple genres. I think I just took the time to craft a program. They had one of the DJ, my brother Karam. Aside from that, they didn't have any DJs on there mixing. So I think, we had the normal YEP audience, which is a older demographic. They never heard transitions like that before. They're Earth, Wind, and Fire fans. They're Cool in the Gang fans. Two artists that I played on Grand Groove, but they never heard them seamlessly. They heard them fade all the way out. So I think birthday tributes where I would go in on samples, just like folks on Twitch love it, folks on YEP loved it. I think that's what made me stand out, and my funny radio voice. So you have to go back and listen on SoundCloud to my early Grand Groove radio. It's like 91.3 WYEP. My name is Selecta. You're in tune. It was very radio voice Jimmy. And early on Twitch, I was still radio voice Jimmy. So I've learned to curb that because you get on the radio, you change up. That's what happens.
You've grown into your Twitch voice. Okay, you've explained that was there till 23 when you quit, but let's take it up to the pandemic then. So just before the pandemic, what was going on and how did it change when the pandemic sort of kicked in?
Pandemic just before was that just that radio gigs, going out of town doing gigs, opening up for group artists that would come here. We had a venue called the Shadow Lounge here in Pittsburgh that we brought everybody. We brought Pete Rock, we brought Diamond D, we brought Large Pro many a time, Tony Touch. We would have late night house music parties. So it was just pretty much being the in-house DJ for the Shadow Lounge. Pittsburgh DJ life, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, in the surrounding, tri-state area, doing gigs until the aforementioned pandemic, which it opened me up to the world.
So obviously that stopped the IRL gigs and things like that happening. Was the radio still ongoing through the pandemic?
Until I quit. Yeah, it was going for about 2.5 years during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you obviously find Twitch at some point.
I found Facebook.
Facebook first.
The whole live streaming was brand new, probably like a couple streams in, other folks I'm watching. And I was so nervous because the one thing that I did not have is the ability to use this thing right here. The ability to look at this thing and use this thing. Because as a DJ out, I didn't talk in a mic. I didn't say all the ladies in the house say ho. I didn't say, where my fellas at. I didn't say any of that. That first week, I got bugged and bugged and bugged. I was streaming off my phone. Yep. I got bugged and bugged and bugged. Yo, you need to do a stream. To the point that we're making Facebook posts saying, Selecta, you got to stream. Like it was like peer pressure. You got to stream. So I hooked up my phone, hooked up the ambient audio, not even the joint, the iRig, not even the iRig, ambient audio. So my neighbors really hated me. Ambient audio. And it would pick up the audio that I was playing. That first night I streamed, I kid you not, I made about 5 stacks from Cash App and Venmo. DMs out the ass, various DMs of various type. And I was like, damn, is it going to be like this every time I stream? 5 stacks? Literally. If the IRS is listening.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I did not. But yeah, like I couldn't even sleep for the next 2 days. I'm like, damn. Because I get it. I'm an anomaly. I'm a white dude playing neo soul and remixes and edits. And I get it. Pandemic is just a week old. I understand what happened. With Facebook, people can share you. You would go viral. Those early days. And the streams after that were good. They weren't 5,000, but they were, 1,800. It didn't work out to be that good every stream.
Yeah.
But the money was good for being in the crib.
Yeah. So that was Facebook. I assume at some point, like most DJs, you got shut down for copyright on Facebook and they had to move on.
I mean, I got shut down, but I didn't get blocked where they blocked me for any sort of extended period of time. I just went over and toggled it back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so annoying as it was, that was the only way because I had friends with chatter in my ear about OBS, but I'm like, do I really want to learn a whole open broadcast software? Like, was OBS intimidating for you initially? Because I didn't want to do it.
It's yeah, I think it was. I mean, obviously it's amazing how far we've got, and obviously your streams look amazing, and transitions on the
Oh,
screens and
thank
all
you.
the rest of it. But it takes time to get there. But I think at the beginning it was like, what is this brand new software and cameras and mics and direct audio and troubleshooting and all of that sort of stuff. But it was difficult to start.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to learn. I was being stubborn. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good on Facebook. I don't want to learn this whole literally took my brother. Some of you may know him. I know Sam knows him. My brother DJ Strobe, who streams on Twitch. He's a legend in the house in the dance music arena. It took him via the phone from Canada, where he relocated to. He's originally from Pittsburgh. To sit down with me over the phone for hours upon hours and learn OBS because those early days there was so much to learn with OBS to
Yeah.
set up all the settings and virtual camera and audio input capture and video. And like, it's too much, but eventually I got a hang of it. And my first Twitch streams were in late August, early September of 2020.
So had you been watching DJs on Twitch before, and is that why you jumped onto Twitch?
Yeah, but not long. Yeah, I mean, probably for a month or so prior, just to see what folks were doing. And that's when everyone still looked like shit, including myself. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I was intimidated because we all look like shit. I just wanted to get the lay of the land prior to going on. When did you first start?
We did a 24-hour one. I think it was July 2020, but I'd done a charity stream for a local nightclub, I think about a month or so before that. So maybe June, but I wasn't on regularly, and this channel didn't properly start doing my streams probably till about a year after that because I was running another channel
Okay.
for a long time. But yeah, about sort of middle of 2020. But again, Facebook first. I didn't ever go onto Instagram, and then from Facebook we then jumped onto sort of Twitch.
Yeah, I tried Instagram. I tried, but it didn't. Yeah, that was a hard nut to crack. Instagram.
Yeah. It was a very different time because this show was born out of me watching Dusty Donut's show from the Dusty Donuts crew, Wednesdays on Wax, and seeing that they were doing live shows, and I was like, okay, well, I'm sure I can do a show. I can interview some of my community, and hence we got Double P in the chat. He was the first person on this show, and we talked about mental health and some of the issues he'd been. But it was amazing to see how it's progressed and how we've got to, especially now with the DJ program and everything else. So those early days obviously were very different to now. Community, obviously a big part of Twitch is the community. And did you find that the community was an important part of it from the beginning?
Yeah, the community made me what I am now. I mean, early on, I teamed up with a lot of folks. Early on, we were all striving to make partner. So earlier on, a friend of mine, Mama Classics, Class 6 on Twitch, she said, why don't we form like Voltron? I'm gonna hook you up with me and LV, DJ LV, and we're gonna just raid each other back and forth and get our communities to merge together. And she called me early on, and I'm like, okay, I'm cool, I'm with it. And we did that for a couple weeks, and a month and a half later, maybe max 2 months, I get the notification prior to that to apply for partner. I made the numbers, and then I waited a couple weeks, but I never got denied and made partner. And we just learned I made partner in early November. So I know a lot of folks have partner journeys that are different. I don't understand what happens behind the scenes with Twitch, but luckily I didn't have any issues the first time I applied. They took forever. I think 2 or 3 weeks to even give me any sort of answer. I mean, I got approved, and here we are.
Yeah, and as Golden Lady says, that's how Twitch was in 2020. People raided friends, and it worked. And I suppose it's like a strategy for what we've got these numbers we've got to hit. How can we do it? Let's do it together. Let's work together. Let's collaborate. And that's the whole beauty of Twitch.
Yeah, it was very kumbaya back then, and it's still, you know, it has its bits of kumbaya-ness still, but back then it was extremely all hands unite, all hands on deck, and we'll form up and create a community. So no, the community's part of it is still. We all have our own respective communities, though. So the community part of it is still intact. I'm not going to say there's cross pollination amongst communities, maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't be here without the community and my mod squad, who Shell is one of them. So
Yeah, and how important are moderators? Because obviously, you know, with large numbers of people, you know, 200-300 people watching on a regular basis, you need people looking out for you, don't you?
how important are moderators? You know very well that we would not be here, standing here, being successful, uh, circumnavigating a stream without what happens behind the scenes. So my mod squad, Shell, Nisi Sykes, Lakita B, Dean B, the hardest working D's last Mon and Biz, Buster Bus, Spunky D, Pablo as well. Miss Steph. Without the mod squad, I don't think we could do it because you would have trolls. Beezus, the DJ B, he raised me most mornings because we have, you know, we have the most shared viewers. Me and B, we share like 51% of our viewers according to Twitch. So he raised me most days. He rated me today too. And then B rated me, and I'm playing a Can You Stand the Rain Jeff Lorber remix. He did a remix, a new edition, Can You Stand the Rain. Rated in, what's with this smooth crap? I want some boom bap. Maybe he was trying to rhyme. I don't know. But the mod squad was quick on it, quick on his ass to say, don't come around here with those shenanigans. But who does that? Just hush. If this not the stream for you, then just be quiet and leave and go elsewhere. A raid doesn't mean you have to stay and engage. What's with this crap? I want some boom bap. That right there shows you the importance of moderators.
Yeah, and it's also crafting your community because, you know, we're trying to find like-minded people who are into, you know, someone's on your channel, they like what you're playing, or they like you, or they like your message, or whatever. And at the end of the day, if people don't like that, like you say, there's thousands of other channels. Go somewhere else.
And what's funny is with my channel, with our channel, is that you never know what you're gonna get. You could get, you know, today we did an ODB set with Rawhide, which is the most vulgar song on earth with Method Man. But we also did a Joe Bataan set earlier. So yeah, we are like-minded in the sense that we love all different types of genres. So you never know, much like on your channel or Sam's, never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yep.
Exactly. Now, obviously, you stream a lot longer than I do. Now, you did 6.5 hours.
So what you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? I'm no vinyl junkies. My brother Sam,
exactly.
My brother Sam and my brother B, they're both. B's about to reach 10,000 hours, and Sam already did. I just do longer sets, and the reason I do longer sets is because I put my sets on SoundCloud, and if I'm doing a Stevie Wonder set and my stream is 4 hours, can you really fully cover Stevie in 4 hours on his birthday?
No. Especially with all the versions as well. You know, it's like when Flipad does his version excursions, Stevie Wonder specials as well. But does it take a lot of preparing? Obviously, 6.5 hours. You know, how much preparation goes into getting that sort of set together?
A lot of it comes from the initial building of the crates. So, you know, these artists I've done on the radio. So I already had like a shell, like a Stevie Wonder tribute. I've had a shell of a crate. So I had that to work with. And as I get new tracks, samples, covers, remixes, I add them to that existing Stevie Wonder crate. And each year that goes by, we do a Stevie Wonder tribute on his birthday. So I look back to see what new tracks I've gotten in the interim and add those to it. And then I go back and say, hey, am I missing anything? Do I have anything on vinyl that I need to rip or play in real time on vinyl to add to the mix too? So my Serato, other than having the hip hop crate, the R&B crate, the go-go crate, the house crate, my Serato is by artist. So I have artists from A to Z with their song, sample, remix, all lined up back to back to back to back to back.
And do you also get the situation where perhaps part of your community viewers are saying, have you heard this one, or have you heard this remix or this version?
That's what I love, is because I don't know everything inherently. Even today, you know, Shell gave me a new a BBD song that I didn't know. I leave it up to the community to enlighten me on stuff I don't know, and now those songs become part of the crates. You know, I don't I don't rock off a title because I record my sets, so I don't do anything off of streaming services when I'm rocking these birthday sets. But if someone gives me something, I have other means of grabbing it, whether it's extend a mix or some other ways. Yeah, if it wasn't for the community, I wouldn't know quarter at least of the music that I know because we can't possibly know everything. I know hip hop from 87 to 1999 like the back of my hand. Other genres, everybody else in the chat will school me. I'm not a smooth, shiny suit R&B dude. I didn't grow up on that stuff. So I leave it up to the community to school me. And that's where we stand right now.
Okay, here's a question for you. Twitch, you got there and you started around August 2020. You're still doing it now in November 2025. Does it still have the same thrill? And I suppose secondary, why are you still on it? Some people after the pandemic have ended up going back and just doing gigs and putting Twitch to one side. Why do you still do it? And does it still have the same appeal as it did when you first started?
It still has the same panache. Yeah, I wake up every morning at 6 a.m. super excited because I'm like today, I've never done an ODB set. I'm like, damn, this is gonna be dope because I got the Pharrell reference track for when he did Gotcha Money. That reference track he gave to ODB to let him know how he wanted it to sound. I played the Rawhide sample from the old Western show that came on in what was that, 50s, 60s? Rawhide, and played the Rawhide meth in ODB. So I get excited, especially when I have new artists to do that we haven't done before. 6 a.m., get up, do some last minute prep, check Bandcamp, check YouTube for any new videos, dust my turntables and my mixer off, my camera, wipe it down, shower, iron my clothes before every show. Yeah, it's exciting. It hasn't lost any of it. Haven't lost any of it. We never done Joe Baton either. That's right, Ellipsis. I love it even more than I did in day one. I mean, it's not as lucrative, but I got other gigs to offset that. So it's not, it doesn't pay the bills like it used to, but I'm getting a lot of more gigs out of Twitch. So I do Dropbox most years. They fly me out to the Bay Area to do their holiday party. I just got back from a gig in Cincinnati with Green Lantern, Norfolk with B. He flew me out there. Did I fly? Yeah, I did fly. Yeah. I don't think how I got there. He flew me out there to rock with him for his 15-year Fresh Radio anniversary. I got gigs in Cleveland. I had 2 vinyl gigs at DC a couple weeks ago. So yeah, that's the super duper plus of Twitch.
It's
And
almost
Dante's too. Sorry.
Yeah, Dante's Hi-Fi. Yeah, I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But it's almost like a storefront, isn't it? People see what you do, they get your personality, and the camera doesn't really lie, does it? Because you're who you are, and this comes across when we meet people in real life from Twitch who perhaps you haven't met before. We are exactly most of the time as we are on camera.
I mean, I'm shorter than I am on camera, and
everyone's shorter.
When people see me, they're like, "Damn, really? Really?" Yeah, I'm 5'6" and a quarter, 189 pounds, 5'6" and a quarter. Really, Sam? How short are you? Is Sam short?
Sam is, probably slightly shorter than me. And I'm 5'7", so yeah, we're not far off the same height.
I'm 5'6" and a quarter.
Yeah, we're not.
But
far
I got
off.
bad posture. Yeah, but I met so many amazing folks on Twitch. So many, DJ peers from around the country and the world. Like, even though I haven't met Sam, I feel like I have, and one day I will meet Sam. Sam, mark my words. One day I will meet your ass. Not meet your ass, but I will meet you. Criztoz, the same. So are you close? You're not close. Sam lives way out.
We're technically in slightly different countries. I'm in England. He's in Wales. We're about 250, 300 miles apart. But we see each other because we travel into London and to various events. So we see each other. I saw him a couple.
So you're like as far as me to DC, pretty much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. And obviously, has it been great to meet people for the first time that you've only met through Twitch in real life? I mean, what's that like?
I attend Twitch meetups. I just came back for Beats for a Cure in Cleveland. We had an early meetup. I think the first meetup, Psychiver was there. It was Mama Classics meetup in Baltimore, first or second year of Twitch. And that was an amazing meetup. And then, that went into the Cleveland meetup. And we had a 50th birthday party in Pittsburgh. And we had folks from like 25 different cities. No one from across the pond, but about 25 different cities that came through to rock with me and B and Bahamadia. Miss Her Rock too. And that was great. We had about 550 people all for my 50th born day here in Pittsburgh. So yeah, I would say meeting folks is great.
That's a lot of people to be in the same place. It's great to see the communities grow. Now, you've mentioned Dante's Hi-Fi. It is a legendary venue that we see in photographs over here and little video clips. What is it about that particular venue that you enjoy?
I mean, the sound is impeccable. I mean, I'm not quite sure. I'm not an audiophile to really know what they have equipment-wise, but they had the master sounds. And when I played there in January 2024, they had the master sounds, which is cool because it had a crossfader on the side. So I was super intimidated. I was so intimidated that I bought this before I played at Dante's because I'd never played on a rotary. I was so intimidated. You know how many times I've used this? 1.1. But I bought it because I was shook. And I got there and I was still shook. My first record skipped. Gotta love it, the record gods. But from there, I was just utilizing the crossfade pretty much. I didn't have time to learn the echo box or the effects box, so everything was a dry transition. So I wasn't too happy about that, but it was an amazing night. A lot of folks from that are in here right now were there at Dante's. A lot of my Pittsburgh people. JVP was there, Shell was there, Psych Giver was there. Like I said, about 10 Pittsburgh folks were in the place to be. So we brought Pittsburgh to Miami. But yeah, it was an honor to play there. And, you know, I see Rich on occasion trying to get back there at some point. So hopefully we can make it happen. I'll have to learn a rotary in the meantime because it's not fun.
It's funny because there's a rotary at Cafe 1001 where we've done some events, which is a similar-ish sort of place, like a listening bar. And again, most of the DJs haven't used a rotary before, and it's the Master Sounds, which has the crossfader, which is great. But it's amazing the difference because essentially it's faders, but just with knobs, isn't it? But it's a completely different way of DJing.
It is because it takes more time. There's more to work with as far as like you really have to put the pot up for it to come in fully. And I didn't have any effects either. But Rich stresses that it's a listening lounge. Like first off, like it's not there's no room for people to dance anyway. So you don't even have to mix if you can't. You know, I did, but you don't really have to. There's a lot of selectors in there that simply play records. Yeah, I mean, there's cats like Giles. I mean, he's not a big mix master when he comes through and just drops records and people go bananas because that's the type of crowd that's there.
And that's a listening crowd. And it's a similar crowd, I would say, to what is on Twitch, because people are there to listen and appreciate the music in the same way as going to a listening bar.
Exactly. Even though we do mix on Twitch, we don't necessarily have to keep the crowd, but it's a strong plus if you do, and it keeps people engaged. I think mixing.
This hour has flown by already. I can't believe it's like an hour already. We definitely have to do a part 2 because there's so many little bits of information. But one of the things that I always ask, and I think I put it in my message to you, is 3 45s that lift your spirits. We started on the very first show when we had Double P and Mr. Musto. And Mark Lancaster asked the question of the guests saying, what 45s lift your spirits? So then since then, I've always asked my guests to pick out 3 45s that lift their spirits. And on top of that, it's ended up, we've got an uplifting mix, 45 minutes of 45s that lift your spirits, which we do on Mixcloud. So if people want to do a mix, they can do it. Obviously, we're going to hear them. So tell me the first one that you've chosen, why you've chosen it, and why it lifts your spirits.
Okay, so it's a record that I stumbled upon. I don't know how I stumbled upon it. And I have the full length too, which has a longer version of this. This is one of our favorite songs in the stream, and I'm glad to have it on 45. I don't have the OG. There may not even be an OG, to be honest with you. But it's a gospel artist by the name of Rubenstein, which sounds like she could be related to me. But she's not. Her name is Rubenstein. The song is called Joy. You know that. Do you know Joy?
I know the song, I think, yeah.
God's Spirit descended upon me. Now I'm free as a bird in the sky. Holy Ghost came like a mighty rushing wind. Now I got joy in my soul. descended upon me, and now I'm free as a bird in the sky. The Holy Ghost came like a mighty rushing wind. I got joy, joy in my soul. Listen, God's Spirit descended upon those men. They were all in the upper room. They spoke in tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. They had joy, joy in the soul. One more time, listen. God's Spirit.
That's a great record. So that's a great start. So that's number one. What have we got for number two?
I mean, these aren't in any order, but this is a 45 that I stumbled upon this in the wild. I think I'm happy to have it on 45 more than it's like one of my favorite songs necessarily, but that's what you're asking, right? What you have on 45 that
Yeah. 345s that lift your spirits. Yeah.
yeah. So this song just gives me life. It's the B-side of a 45.
Yeah.
It's Patrice Rushen. It's called Music of the Earth.
I was saying that was a joint, a proper joint. That was a great record. Right, we've got one more, and then I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. What is your third one? What have you chosen?
My third one is a remix I heard prior to it coming out on 45, and I'm glad it came out on 45 because now I can play it out on vinyl sets. You probably already saw the cover. It's all right. It's cool.
It's like back in the day covering the label so other people don't know
Right,
what
we
it
used
is.
to do that back in the day. My second favorite song of all time. People that know me, they know that my favorite songs are Can We Pretend, which is also a Bill Withers tune, but the Real People remix with Tony Momrelle. Lovely Day, which we're about to play, but we're going to play a different version. And then I like Days Like This, Sean Escoffery and Spinner. These are like feel-good joints to me. But this one, as you already know, oh, Really Love. I'm sorry. Why did I say Can We Pretend? Really Love is my favorite song. Then Can We Pretend? Thank you, Nisi. I don't even know my own favorite songs. This is the remix of Lovely Day. Shut up, Jimmy. Studio Rio on the remix.
Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day.
We all played that one to death.
That is a classic. We had that, and Josie Styles played it in Hamburg on our boat party, and it had been raining. And then just as she played that, the sun came out. And then this year, again on the boat party, DJ Irie played it, and again the sun came out at that point. It's one of our anthems. So yeah, we love that song.
You know, the other anthem is the Roy Ayers cover of Sunshine by Bossa Electrica. That one,
Yeah.
that's another Twitch anthem, is that that one. Fuck. But yeah, Sam mentioned the Marvin one with Studio Rio. I'm not a big fan of the Marvin one. The whole album didn't work for me, but this one definitely stood out.
Yeah.
Studio Rio has a lot of, the Marvin one doesn't work for me, but more power to those that dig it. But yeah, I love this one right here. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great release, and Mr. Bongo, an amazing label, and I just saw they've released some cool merch, actually, a cool jacket and a cool record bag as well. So yeah, if you're into your Mr. Bongo,
for sure,
check that stuff out. Let's sort of draw it to a close. But the one question I haven't asked you is 45s. Why do you like or love 45s, and why do you still play them?
Yeah, I mean, portability is the main reason for all of us, I would imagine. I think with Twitch, my love for 45 has grown. Obviously, I sold 45s in my shop, so I got a lot of 45s from selling them over the years. But there's a acronym that my brother Epic has Epic been on this show?
Not yet. He's on my list at some point, but he will be coming on at some point.
Bus Crates has, right?
Bus Crates has, yeah.
Okay. So he came up with, I don't know if you ever heard him say, he came up with this PSP, Picture Sleeve Pierre. So between me and Bus and Epic, we like to floss when we get picture sleeves. We like to floss. You know, in the UK, they're commonplace, but in the States, we didn't get a lot of picture sleeves. So if we can come up with a Italian picture sleeve, Brazilian picture sleeve, we like to one up each other. So I don't know what you do to one up over there, because over there, picture sleeves were the norm.
Yeah, but we get the Japanese press picture sleeves.
The Japanese, okay, I gotcha. Right, well, we do too, but we were plagued with styrene around these parts. So anytime we can get a vinyl copy or a PSP, Coco knows that that's the way to go. So the internal flossing, which is fun amongst friends, and the portability aspect of it is great. I ordered those reloops when they first came out. Yeah, I've yet to. The company I order from also they have not kept me abreast on what's happening.
I think there's another drop. I think December is what the reloop rep was.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they kept me abreast on what's happening with my thousands of dollars or 1,000 plus that I spent. But that's I do not have mine yet. How did you get yours so early?
I just ordered them when they came out, and I was quick because they sold out pretty quickly after that. Yeah. And then we connected with the reloop. We did an event at a West End DJ Expo a couple of weeks ago, and we all sets on these reloops, and all the DJs were coming in and getting to try them firsthand, which was
were they not aware that there was going to be such a demand, because they're slacking big time.
And so from what I understand, I think it's between 1,500 and 2,000 was the first drop. I think the second drop isn't quite as many. I think it's maybe 1,000, and then probably a third drop. But then after that, I don't know. It's difficult to know
companies are
if it's going to plateau, and then the people who want them, or whether more and more people will come out of the woodwork and think, actually, yeah, I want some 7-inch record decks. So we'll see.
Well, they sure took my money with the quick fast. But,
yes. Yeah. You need to ring them. Tell them, look, there's another drop coming soon. Where's my decks?
I did. I'm not going to say the name of the company I ordered from, but I did call them, and we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Yes, that's fine. But thank you so much. It's been an amazing time. Thank you for the time. I know you've been busy all day today, and obviously we'll have a quick chat afterwards. But thank you, everyone who's been in the chat. It's been an amazing show. We've had a lot of people watching. Thank you for raiding in and bringing your community in, and thank you for all the new follows as well. We've had a lot of new follows today. But yeah, we'll definitely do a part 2, or maybe a panel as well. A panel show, get a couple of people on, and I'm sure there's lots of areas. But thank you so much for being on the show, and it's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Likewise, brother. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, Criztoz, 45 Day. And yeah, make sure to check him out. Check me out too. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. We're rating Sam, the Cure Radio Social Radio, and I'm going to leave it up to Criztoz to close it out.
Thank you once again. If you'd like to come back, there's lots of shows on YouTube you can watch back. This will be edited maybe in a couple of weeks' time. Lots of live streams from around the world that we've done. But thank you, everyone. This has been part of my journey. It's been another amazing hour finding out a lot more about Selecta. Take it easy.